It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hey guys, today I'm just here to do not really a tattoo progress update video so much as I just kind of wanted to talk about some of my experiences with some tattoo and piercing related stuff in general. I do have one thing to show off, but I'll make it quick. Obviously, I had these face tattoos reworked / highlighted recently by Terry. They're now fully healed. I've said fully healed before, and I've had some condescension towards that comment where, oh, they're not fully healed until three months or a year or 16 years or 35 years or whatever the crazy number is that some people think a tattoo is fully healed. These are about a week and a half healed. So they've gone through all of the shedding and all of the peeling or whatever you want to call it. And this is what we're left with. So they're about, as I said they'd be, as bright as the ones on my neck, which is still a little brighter than I hope they'll be long term. So again, I'm hoping that they're going to darken. I'm not hoping that they stay paper towel white. That's the wrong way to think. You want to be aiming for sort of like a black and gray balance. That's what you want with white on black and black on black. Anyway, I don't want to get too much on a tirade about that. God knows I've done that too many times to count. I have also reduced the size of my Labret again. So for anyone who's been following this channel a long time, I made a video here a little over a year ago about why I'm downsizing my Labret and how I'm doing that. At the height, my Labret was 26 millimeters. For the last year, roughly, it's been between 18 and 16 millimeters. And I had a piece ordered back in May. It took that long to get here. Made with my specifications, but 14 millimeters instead of 16. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it until I got it in. It was a little small when I first seen it, but it's much more where I want to be at for now. I was a little worried that my lip would never get that small, but now I don't know how small I can actually take it. I don't know how responsive my body will be to my desires. It's surprising me that I can get it. It's almost half as big as it was now. It's 12 millimeters smaller than it was at its biggest. I'm a little surprised that it can regenerate that much. And the morbid curiosity there is just how small can it go without surgery. I'm really wondering if I were to leave this thing out for a month, if it would completely close up or what the deal would be. It's a little bit strange, honestly. We're told all the time that these things are permanent and they won't go back, but now I've decreased the size almost half. So I will show that you can still see on the outside. The outside always takes the longest to catch up. So when I'm close up like that, you can see the scar formation or the opening on either side, and the front of it is visible. But on the inside, it's already sealed up around that 14 millimeter. It's already tight enough that I'm not worried about stability with it. So I'm wondering how far that could go. Now, I'm not decreasing it again anytime soon. I've had some people ask me if I'm planning on eventually sewing it up or getting rid of it altogether. I don't think that's in the cards right now, but never say never, obviously. And again, if I did that, it wouldn't be I regret it or I don't like it or I wish I never did it. It would just be I've moved on or whatever. For now, I'm happy with it. I wanted to get into a little bit about some of the other things that haven't gone well or that I've changed or something like that. Obviously, another example was my my third nipple piercings, which people have been asking me if I'm planning on doing them again, because obviously I just had them done in February and I've already got them out. They lightened up my nipple tattoos significantly, and it was kind of annoying. Someone who's had their nipples tattooed now 7 times, you want them to be black. So right now, I'm not even thinking about doing those again because of the horror show of watching them. It was almost like I had laser surgery on my nipples. The way they were lightening, it was very gradual. It wasn't all at once, and it didn't look like it was done either. So for me, like, the idea of putting them back in is a nightmare. I can't even imagine doing it right now. So maybe in time, I actually still think they could be a little bit blacker than they are. And I mean, they're already pretty black, but I might do another pass on them just to see if they can get any more solid than they are. Just, again, morbid curiosity. I'm always wanting to test these kinds of limits and see what's doable. For other people who have just recently started following my journey, I had a 00 forward helix piercing in here at one point, and wearing masks at work, it ended up pulling on that piercing, kind of putting my ear in this position for too long, and it caused a little tear in there and forced a migration. And now I took my time stretching this thing over a few years to get it to that point, and it was actually, there was quite a bit of skin there still, but it was one of my saddest piercing stories that I had to take that bad boy out. And then I ended up piercing two sides of it. I ended up doing 2 piercings in the parts of my skin around the hole. So I ended up making something good out of it, but yeah, it was sad having to take out a 00 forward helix piercing. It was, from what I know, the biggest forward helix piercing that has ever existed. Again, I've got this one. This is a 0 gauge, but it wasn't quite as cool as having that 00 on the other side. I also had I had removed a piercing here because it hadn't migrated, it hadn't rejected yet, but having my helix piercing at 26 millimeters was constantly putting pressure on that piercing, which was a 6 gauge, I believe. So I had to say goodbye to that piercing for that reason. Over here we have a 6 gauge top helix piercing, and I don't think I'm going to stretch that anymore because I feel like that tissue is thin enough that pushing on it too much more, it could cause some migration. So yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of ranting about piercings today. I hadn't talked about piercings in a while. There is two more I wanted to mention on this while I'm at it. I actually at one point had another little piercing in here too. It was similarly, I think it was a 0 gauge, but again, there is not much tissue there, and that one full send rejected. I don't mind it. It looks kind of cool having that notch there, and I've got lots of scars anyway. Almost no one ever brings it up, but to me, I would notice that. I would think, man, there's one missing in there, and there's a little notch there where I used to have another stretched piercing. So believe it or not, at one point this year had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stretched piercings in a row. That happened before I had stretched this conch, which is, by the way, at 19 millimeters again. I've been fighting between 18 and 19 with that for a long time, and I finally got it to 19 millimeters. I'm hoping that it'll just stay put and not cause problems, but my anatomy is kind of telling me that 18, 19 is as far as it goes, and though I'd love to have that even number of a 20 millimeter conch in my right ear, I don't really think it's in the cards. It seems like that's kind of be the limit. I think I'm going up against structural problems there. So on that note, I think it's probably for the best that I got a little bit out of stretching my piercings this last year and more into fitness as like kind of a secondary focus. I love focusing on my tattoos, but tattoos are something you kind of have to rely on someone else for, where the piercings and now the fitness stuff that I do, that's all stuff that's self-contained. You can do that on your own. You're not reliant on anyone else, and so it's been a great passenger with the tattoos being the forefront it's been great to have something else to do strictly on my own, that I'm the only one in charge of or in control of. It's been good for off-gassing when, say, a tattoo artist cancels on you, or you have to reschedule or something. It's good to have more than one of those kinds of channels to go down, I think. Fitness makes a great partner for tattoos, but so did piercings for me. I don't think that I'm going to be stretching any more new piercings. I think that I've kind of had my fill of it. I think I've done everything I wanted to in that arena. And I think decreasing the size of my Labret, and I've decreased the size of my Philtrum a few times over the last few years. I think that's kind of a signal that I'm kind of getting away from that a little bit. Not that it wasn't fun, but it's just kind of, I've had my fun with it, and I'm moving away from it. But the only other one I want to talk about is one that people bring up all the time. My blowout on my right ear, which is a little harder to see with the weight. Yeah, it's blown out. People look down on this for some reason. I have no idea why. I stretched this piercing back when almost no one knew anything about stretching piercings, and there was almost no information. And also, it was kind of just a bit of bad luck too. Like, this piercing here was stretched slowly. It wasn't like I stretched it all at once or anything like that. I actually stretched this one way faster and way more recklessly, yet it ended up in better condition. Sometimes your anatomy just acts funny. Like, I'm not saying I did everything right, but I did these, well, this one even more recklessly, and it turned out fine. So some of that is luck. I'm not going to say it was all luck, but at the time the jewelry I was wearing, I think, was probably a little too tight, and it blew out. I'm not really worried about it. I've had that blowout for 21 years, and it's not growing, and I'm not really concerned. It seems to bother a lot of other people for some reason, but whenever someone notices it, I'm like, yeah, what can you do? Things happen. Like, it hasn't bothered me. I haven't lost sleep over it, but it is something people comment on. I think it's because when you get to a certain level in a community or something and lots of people know you, they start expecting everything to be perfect or something, and that's just not life. I've never ever once said all of my mods were the best or anything like that. I'm actually happy to have little inconsistencies and problems, because it makes it easier to speak to other people, because everyone's had issues. If I had a perfect run and nothing ever went wrong, that would be boring as fuck. Similarly, I've had people ask me about this bridge piercing. Is it migrating? Is it rejecting? Well, it migrated to a point a long time ago, but that's been over for a long time. For anyone who's been watching me for a long time, this bridge piercing has been this thin forever. It's been that thin for 10 years. I would say that it was thick for about a year. Then it migrated for a while, and it found its comfortable spot. Some piercings are like that. It's weird. A lot of people don't notice the bridge piercing very often, because a lot of the time I'm wearing my glasses and you don't get a close-up of that. But yeah, it's not perfect, but it's in there and it's not going anywhere, so what do I care? I like my piercings. I'm a big fan of them, but they're not without trouble. Piercings are always like that. Piercings are far more finicky than tattoos. While I am on tattoos for a second, though, I will mention, someone asked me if my elbows are solid, because there was some glare in one video. So my elbows are completely black. There's no blacker you could make those. They are pitch black, and they've been done multiple times. And I want to say, well, I got this elbow up. Here, I'll get that one up there too. Right up close, where you can see they're completely solid. Those were completely solid color before that. You want to talk about someone who's gone through the work. I think both of my elbows have been tattooed around 10 times. They were done multiple times to get them full color before, and I've had them blacked out several times since to get that color out. So they're not weak. There's no problems there. You shine bright light on anything, you can see some inconsistencies. As far as my fingers go, This hand is one of the best black hands I've personally ever seen, blackout fingers. That being said, there's some spots in the knuckles. Again, I'm not afraid to show that off. Here they are close up. I have seen far worse. I had someone comment about how I should be perfecting my hands. Well, I think they're as close to perfect as they need to be for me. There's always going to be some dropout. And if you see a fresh, healed hand, expect that after they've lived in them for a few years like I have, there's going to be some spots. It's just going to happen. There's almost no way you're going to get them completely solid. This hand's a little worse, but that's because it's my dominant hand. Again, I'm happy with them. There's some spots I could hit again, and I might hit again, but I've never claimed any of my work to be perfect, and I'm more than happy to show off the trouble spots and explain that. So anyway, I had a few things to get off my chest here. Like I said, no real tattoo progress so much to go over this time, just kind of a bunch of little things that I wanted to address and kind of show some of the reality behind this stuff, that you're not going to get through a lifetime of body mods with a perfect clean record. You're not. It's not going to happen. Don't even try. Enjoy the inconsistencies and the discrepancies and the things that go wrong. Learn to be happy about those things, because if you like a lifestyle, if you like a thing as a hobby, a lot of that is going to be learning as you go and figuring out like how to get past stuff, and accepting that things aren't going to be perfect is a big one. Like I said, with my hands, I keep hitting those, but how many times am I going to do that? And honestly, they look fine anyway. So yeah, and that's a realistic, that's your best case scenario for the most part when you're getting into this stuff. I mean, unless you got the money and the time to be taking off work 6-7 times in a row to perfect every little detail, you're going to get some dropout in some spots. You're not going to get those far knuckles and fingertips completely perfect. You're going to have callus spots like I do. Like here, I got some callus there. That's never going to be fully saturated. It's always going to drop out. It was fully saturated, but I've got some big bad calluses there, and they don't want to take ink. That's human, man. That's what humans are. We're never going to be perfect. I wouldn't even suggest trying. Just get used to those little problems along the way, and you'll be much happier. Anyway, I've ranted long enough. I don't know if anyone will enjoy this video or not, but I'll talk to you guys again soon. Give me a thumbs up. Have a great day.